Hey guys, welcome back to the Shift RSA. As always, my name is Jean, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. So I've asked you guys to send me pictures of your cars on social media so that I can review them. This way I get to know you guys a little bit better, I get to know what you drive. If you think about it, my YouTube channel, Instagram account, and basically the whole philosophy around the Shift RSA is people and their cars. And for that reason, I think it's a good opportunity for me to get to know you. Cars say a lot about their owners, so I think in that way, I get to know my audience a little better, and it's always good for you to know what I think, what my opinions are, because that way we can have a sort of authentic relationship as you engage with the channel and the Instagram account, and as I engage with you guys. Okay, so the first car we're going to look at comes compliments of an Instagram account called Accelerate and Drift. I'm going to put their handle over here. I think it fits in here about. I think that's the bottom of the screen. And we are looking at a 2013 Alfa Romeo Giulia. This one is white, which is a color I would probably take it in, and it's got the Italian flag, sort of the tricolore.
Tricolore, I believe it's pronounced.
Vinyl wrap from the front to the back, which I think looks pretty cheeky. It's funny how people who drive Italian cars like to put the Italian flag on it. And in the background, what I'm seeing another Alfa Romeo there. I don't know if it's a 156. Judging by the mirror, it might be. But it's so funny. People who drive Alfas just keep driving Alfas. They only want Alfas and they're very proud of it. And I don't blame them. I recently drove one and pretty much fell in love with it. So I get it. I get the love affair with Alfa Romeos. This one is pretty stock. I mean, it looks entirely stock. There isn't much I can say about it. The owner said the car's name is Queen, which I think is very appropriate because we do tend to fall in love with our cars. Guys have a very weird, inappropriate relationship with their cars. So I get it. Good looking car. I think it's a lot more attractive than some of its rivals from Germany and Britain. I think Ford, I think the Focus is a British Ford. Could be wrong, but I think it looks better than its rivals. In terms of reliability and things like that, I don't know, but nice car, man. I really like these. I'd really love to drive one day, just compare it to its rivals. Cool. The next car comes to us from a guy called Nathan, and he drives a Datsun Sunny or a Nissan Sunny, I don't know what you want to call it. He's done branches, a ported head, and the cams, and it currently has a 1500 Nissan motor in it. And I like what he's done to the car. He's put some aftermarket headlights in it. He's got some nice, what looks like, I want to say 15-inch wheels, but it's period correct. It looks very good. And I also like the color scheme. I tend to think old Nissans and Datsuns look good in gray, the same color that most of the GTRs and Skylines came in. And the grey and black on this car really looks very good. In South Africa, these cars are very popular. People love to modify them. They tend to stay in families for generations. They get handed down. People modify them. They tend to put their own twist on it as well, which is very cool. I think this is a very attractive looking car. I'm willing to bet it sounds very good. I'd be happy to get a video of the car as well, Nathan. But overall, a very cool package. I think you've done the car justice with the styling. It all looks period correct. It's also got some vinyl going down the side, I see. And it looks like a very neat car. I'd love to see more of this car actually. This really tends to be an enthusiast car. Judging by the looks of this car, it looks like lots of man hours have gone into it. I really applaud you for that. I don't always have the patience or the time or the knowledge to put something like this together, so I really do take my hats off to you for that. Very good looking car. I'd love to see more of it. Okay guys, so I actually know this car. This car is driven by a close friend of mine. I'm going to put her Instagram handle over here. And Joe drives a Audi A1, a first gen. And I like the fact that when she added the description to the car, she said it's Durban stock. Now, those of you that know what Durban stock means, it usually means don't race them. It also means if you happen to race them and you lose to them and you ask them what's done to their car and they tell you it's Durban stock, that means it's modified. Because people in Durban, for some reason, I don't know if it's to humiliate you, but they'll tell you their car is stock even when it's not, just, I don't know, to rub salt in the wound when you lose. So this little A1 has hurt many feelings. The 1.4 TFSI has been fiddled with quite a bit. It's been worked on meticulously and it's been maintained very well. It sounds very good. and I really like the styling because it's subtle. It only has a nice set of wheels, very good fitment, and it's sitting very low, which is always good for me. I think cars with modest styling often look a little bit better than sort of sticking on little lips and what are those things on the bumpers, those little fins. I think that tends to look cheap. So the fact that this car doesn't have it, she's just gone for nice fitment, good ride height, and a lethal engine, or at least a lethal tune and setup and all that stuff. Makes for a very nice package. One that is often, I think, underrated. Some people might say it's a Polo that went to private school, but this one is quite a refined machine, and I think it suits the owner's personality very well. She's quite a, what's a nice way of saying it? She's quite a fierce, sort of outspoken and very sure of herself kind of person. And I think the car is a reflection of that. I think there's a good example of the car being a reflection of the owner. But I think overall, a very clean package. I really like the way it looks and sits. Nice. Okay, so this car. The owner of this car, Julian, sent me a picture of both of his cars, but I've chosen only to talk about the MX5 because it's my favorite between the two, and I'll save his other car for another video, but for now, I'm going to talk about the MX5. The first gen 1990 Mazda MX5, or as the Americans call it, a Miata MX5, or Mazda Miata. Sorry, I don't know which one it is, but I love these things. I love the color that this one is in. It's stock as far as I understand. Only the exhaust has been done, which is understandable because you want it to breathe out nicely. And I love that the picture is of the car on a skid pan. I think that's where this car should spend most of its time anyway. Now the reason I love these cars so much is just because they follow a recipe that I'm quite fond of. So that means a small form factor, it means moderate power to the rear wheels and no roof, which is pretty cool. I'm not necessarily a fan of drop tops or convertibles. I just think the fact that this car was built to be that from the start, that's a good thing because it means they take into account the fact that it's not going to have a roof. They don't factor that in terms of structural rigidity. Usually when they make drop top versions or convertibles of coupes or sedans, you tend to find some structural issues just in terms of the car's handling dynamics and all that kind of stuff. But I think in the MX5 it doesn't really apply because it was never meant to have a roof in the first place. So by not factoring that in as a structural part of the car, I think they've been able to make something that's fun to play with, that handles pretty well, and that you can have a lot of fun in. And it looks like the guy's having a lot of fun in this picture. As I mentioned before, he did say that he likes to frequent the skid pan, which I definitely would. I think if I had one of these, I might even be out on a rainy day on a quiet road where there aren't children playing, looking to get into some trouble with it. It looks like a lot of fun. I've seen some people actually weld the diffs on them to make it even more easy to slide around. I don't know how practical that is, but if you are going to take your car to the track on a trailer, maybe do that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So thanks Julian for sending in your car. I'm actually very keen to talk about your other car as well, but I think I'll do that in my next video, just so we can get to the other cars as well. Let's have a look at the next one. Okay, so the next car comes to us from Michael. Michael, thanks for sending a picture of your car. So this car is a Subaru Impreza WRX. So this model, the Bug Eye, came out in the early 2000s. The WRX differs from the STI in that this has a 2-liter boxer engine with a turbo, and the STI had a 2.5-liter boxer engine, also with a turbo, but the STI was sort of the range topper. This one was just below it, but was still a very peachy engine. I think they made about 160 something kilowatt stock, and this one looks like it might be modified. So all the modifications I can see are on the outside. The driver didn't specify which modifications are under the hood, but it looks like he enjoys his car on the track quite often, and that makes me very happy. I think certain cars are definitely worth taking out onto the track to explore some of its handling dynamics and to see if any of that sort of racing pedigree is still present, especially with a name like Subaru that comes with that heritage of rally racing and being quite innovative with their four-wheel drive systems and all of those things. I think these are definitely cars worth driving fast. This one looks very good. You can see the bumpers and all of that is sort of reminiscent of cars from that era, from the early 2000s. If you look at cars from that era and the way that they modified them, think about movies like The Fast and the Furious that sort of popularized modifying and tuning cars, especially on the outside. This almost takes me back. It feels like this car would have been an extra in a Fast and Furious scene. Maybe one of those scenes where they're racing at night and it's sort of a high view zooming over this scene and you see all the cars parked in rows like that. I think this car definitely could have been spotted there. Believe it or not, I've actually never driven a Subaru, and it really breaks my heart because I've always wanted to. And I remember being young, especially when the Fast and Furious came out, and we were all hyped up on things like GTRs and RX-7s and Supras and Subarus and all that kind of thing. I remember we were sort of hopped up on the whole JDM scene, and we didn't really know what we were looking at, but the fact that it was flashy and it made noise and it spit flames, this car really takes me back there. Huge nostalgia factor, and a car that I think is a future classic, definitely. I think clean ones are going to be hard to find going forward. Many people are ruining them. Many people have ruined them. I think many of these cars ended up upside down somewhere. No disrespect to Travis Pastrana, but yeah. In a time where things can be ironically cool, I think you could go this direction with this car. You could do the bumpers, you could do the side skirts, you could do the wheels, you could do a build that is sort of 10-15 years old, and it would still be cool and you still get a lot of attention at the meet. And for that reason, this one gets my stamp of approval. I like the way it looks. I think it's very cheeky, and I take my hats off to the owner for putting this car on the track as well. Speaking of cars on the track, let's look at the next one. Okay guys, so as I said previously, this car can be seen on the track quite often. This is a Renault Megane RS 250 Cup, 2011 year model, and it was sent to us by Roxy. Roxy also sent us this description along with the pictures of a car, and I'm going to read it to you because it's very long and I won't remember it. And it says, what sold me on this car? The bucket seats. Not so stock, has an upgraded flywheel and clutch and an induction kit. I do race the car, so safety first. Brake pads and discs upgraded to power brake, as well as braided brake lines and racing brake fluid. Also have a custom stabilizer bar made up. Looks wise, had some custom stickers made up for the sides, like to be different. Also have the French flag on the bumper, and drive the car around with my race number on the side, because race car. All in all, my aim with the car is to modify it as a race car, as that's what I enjoy doing. Joined now for my 4th year of racing with Velocha Racing. I think it's Velaka Racing, I'm not sure. Previously raced in the Michelin Cup. Find it as a good stepping stone into the race world. I just want to stand still at the fact that we have a female driver who tracks this car and who seems to be quite in tune with what's going on with the car. And the reason I want to stand still there is because I think it's very cool. I think it shows the progressive nature in the local car scene. I think women are really doing it for themselves. I think it's very cool that women are representing themselves so well in the industry. Let's get to the car. These cars are very well known for their handling capabilities. This being a Cup, it comes with a limited slip differential. I think it really helps when you're starting to push a lot of power through the front wheels. It means that you can actually do something with that power once you start turning, and that's what these cars are known for. They're known for their handling capabilities, and they're actually quite lethal in a straight line as well. I don't know why people haven't taken to them so well. You'll see on groups, on forums, lots of people tend to make fun of Renault drivers. There's a running joke about 4 to 6 weeks that it takes to get parts here from overseas, because the after sales service here is a little shabby. But these cars don't always get the respect they deserve, and I want to make a point of it that these things are very lethal on the track, quite quick in a straight line, definitely a force to be reckoned with. Another car I haven't driven and that I really want to. I'm really itching to get in one of these cars because I've heard so many good things about them. Many of the owners that I do know, well, not many, I think I know 2, 3 now including Roxy, but the other 2 owners have told me that their cars have been fairly reliable. I mean, many cars have their small issues and their quirks, so you can expect this car to also have. But overall, they've been driving their cars pretty hard and the cars have held up pretty nicely. This one is definitely on the bucket list. I really need to drive one of these. I was actually pretty close to buying one at one point. I know I say that a lot, but I get this close to buying cars quite often. So this one has been really up there because of the depreciation. They're very affordable, and because of the reputation of being great handling cars and quick cars. It was a selling point for me. Roxy, I really take my hats off to you for driving this car the way it should be driven, for putting it on the track, and for showing the guys how it's done as well. So props. Okay, let's go to the other end of the spectrum. Let's look at something a little less niche. Here we have a first generation Toyota Aygo. I think it's Aygo or Aygo. I'm gonna call it Aygo. And this car comes to us complement of ZST Photography. Now, I don't know the owner's name, unfortunately. He sent it to me on his photography Instagram page. I can't seem to find his personal page linked in any of the photographs or in the bio. This is his Instagram handle. That's where you can find him. And the first thing I want to say about this car, and it's something that I've made no secret for loving, and that's small Japanese cars. Now, I remember my first car was a Daihatsu Sirion. It was a little 3-cylinder, 1-liter engine, had close to no power. But I remember really falling in love with the car because it had so much character, and I just like the simplistic approach that Japanese people have to designing and building their cars. And this car is a good example of that because it's really the smallest car they made at that point. I think this car actually shared a platform with many other small cars. What was it called? There was a Peugeot and a Citroen, I think, that had the same platform, if I'm not mistaken. And I think this is a really good first car. I think many people make the mistake of buying their children way too fancy cars for their first car, where I think this car teaches you a lot of patience, teaches you how to take care of something, it teaches you how to be resourceful. So for that reason, I think a small car like this is perfect for a first car. Not much tuning potential, but I mean, in terms of aesthetic modifications, you can do quite a lot to them. You can always do good wheels and fitment, which I always recommend. I don't even think there's enough space to put like sound in the boot, but maybe do the mids in the doors, maybe put tweeters, maybe do the sub under the seat. But other than that, I think keep it straight and simple. Keep the car clean. They're really simple to work on. They tend to have very simple technology in them, meaning things are put together in a sensible way. It's a nice platform to learn on. Other than that though, something has to be said about small Japanese cars and the way they drive. In my personal experience, it's been a lot of fun, but I think something can be said about having a simple enough platform that can sort of help you come to terms with how you should build up speed and how a car should handle before really having that risk of real speed, if that makes sense. So not much to say about this car. I mean, it is stock standard. It is really a point A to point B car for many people, but being a small Japanese hatch, I think it's easy to fall in love with these. I can tell the owner really loves his car, which I'm really stoked about. Cool car, man. And that's it from me for this episode. If you didn't see your car, please don't be upset. It's definitely going to be in another video like this. I've just chosen these because it's the order that they came in, and I wanted to keep, like I said, I wanted to keep the episode nice and short and easily digestible, and I wanted to have a proper say about the cars as well. Thank you guys very much for submitting your cars. It's been a lot of fun getting to talk about them and sort of maybe getting to know you in a way. If you agree with me on any of these, please let me know. Especially if you disagree, also let me know. I really enjoy the dialogue we seem to have on the YouTube channel and the Instagram account. I can talk about cars all day, so I'm happy to do that with you as well. Thank you guys for all the support so far. I have a very special video coming up next that I'll be filming this weekend, so definitely keep an eye out for that. Until I see you guys again, please be safe out there, especially be safe on the road.